Zora has learned to trust in her feelings. Jet Reno would kill for some black licorice. And Cleveland Booker's mentor is named Cleveland Booker. Hello, everybody. And welcome to The Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello, hello.
It is officially happy time because you're hanging out with Cirroc. My name's Ryan T. Husk, and we are reviewing Discovery Season 4, Episode 12, entitled, finally, Species 10C. We get to find out a little bit about them. When I saw that title, I leaned in. I was like, finally, they did a good job of building and building and building and saying, oh, we're not going to tell you yet. We're not going to tell you yet. We're not going to tell you. Okay, here you go. How you doing, man?
Yeah. They've been building this up, and it's good to finally be there. There was a lot of good things in this episode. I thought this episode had a good pace to it, and actually was one of the better Discovery episodes that I've seen.
Yeah. And before we get too much into that, Ryan's wardrobe is furnished today by 10 Forward by Paramount Plus. Wait, no, that says Picard. That says that side says Picard, Star Trek Picard. This side is Paramount Plus. Cirroc and I are still recovering from our Romulan ales. Although Cirroc had like one Romulan ale and 14 Vulcan mind melds. I was just like, I'll do the Romulan ale and I'll stop there. I'm driving. But that was a really good time last night, right?
It was a very good time, and you kind of put me abreast to what the 10 Forward idea is. The bar in Next Generation with Guinan, I think is what you said. So I don't know much about the history of it. I do know that we did see a reference to it in Picard on the last episode that we saw.
Yes.
Where they were on Forward Street. They had like that plaque on the wall or something, right?
And the address was 10, yeah.
And the address was 10. And then obviously we saw Whoopi Goldberg reprise her role as Guinan, which was a special kind of thing. So that when you combine that background with the fact that Paramount Plus wanted to do this event to kind of promote the 10 Forward and promote the Picard show, I thought they did a fantastic job, the people at their publicity department and the people at Paramount Plus, for organizing, arranging, and really setting up this pop-up makeshift bar in the middle of downtown Los Angeles. So the vibe was great, the feel was good, the company was exquisite. Loved having the chance to meet a lot of the people that we don't have faces to their names, and also hang out with some of the Picard cast as well. So it was all around a great event.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, in downtown LA, Paramount Plus is opening for limited time, 10 Forward. Check it out. I believe all of it is sold out for every single day for the duration of this limited event. But we were fortunate enough to be invited to this VIP preview of it. I think it's opening today or tomorrow, but this was last night. And you guys got to go. Those of you that are going, get yourself a 10 Forward hoodie. I've got it right over there. I don't know if I can reach it. It looks so cool. It's so comfortable. I would have totally worn it right now, but we're in LA. So right now it's like 85 degrees in March, but I will be wearing it again tonight. I tried it on this morning, and I was very pleased with it and very pleased with myself. I was looking in the mirror and very excited about myself. But I did want to point out, I know this is, by the way, a Discovery review, but just to finish up on this, the Star Trek fans are rabid about Star Trek, and they love Star Trek. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows that the people at Paramount Plus love the fans, and they love Star Trek as much or more than the actual fans feel about Star Trek. I mean, when we're talking to them, they're saying how much they love the fans and how much they appreciate the fans and how much they love the positivity. And they're just, they're exuberant. They're excited they're beside themselves with appreciation and gratitude that they can work on this franchise that they love. You know, they loved this franchise 30 years ago, and now they're living a dream come true working with it. And it's just really good to know, because you don't want to be presumptuous and just assume that they're fans. Maybe it's just a job to them, but it's always such a delight to find out that they're just as excited about it or more than we are.
They are. They embrace the fans. They embrace all the symbiotic spin-offs that are out there trying to promote the franchise and the shows. So definitely feel part of a big family there, and they extend a very warm welcome to not only myself but everybody who participates. But I also want to say about this bar, it is it was an empty building before they converted it into this and forward. And that was one thing that we got, a little insight on, seeing the pictures of the before. And when you see the after, you really are amazed by the attention to detail. That's the hoodie right there.
I love
Very
it.
nice.
So stylish.
Yeah, that's a stylish hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
Very comfortable. I got myself one of those. I will be rocking it sometime soon when temperatures slow down.
You're gonna make it look better than you. You always make everything look so good. As soon as you said you're gonna be rocking yours, I'm like, man, I can't be seen in that.
Well, you know what's funny? Because the shirt actually matches the Star Trek cruise colors for the hat.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, and the shirt, yeah,
in gray. Yeah, so I might put together a whole 10 forward Star Trek the Cruise, all Star Trek memorabilia wrapped up in one. But no, they took this empty building, and one of the things they did was show Ryan and I the before of what the building looked like. It was an empty space, and the Paramount Plus people came in there, converted everything, built up these bars, built up these food areas. They have a merchandise section. They have a backdrop for photographs for people who want to have the official photographs taken. And the space is very well designed. They have music playing, a DJ section, and they essentially created a club that feels like it should be there all the time, right? So they did a fantastic job. And the other thing I wanted to just highlight for those of you that are going to see it or just going to check it out online or follow up on it in social media space, but there are photographs on the walls inside of the 10 Forward establishment. There we go. There we go.
Speaking of social media, you made a couple friends, right? John Orchiola of Screen Rant and his buddy there, Sergio was. And then he called me out to show the picture of us. It's John Orchiola. This is Anthony Pascal of TrekMovie.com. Good people, great time.
Good people, great time. And that was the thing. It was just kind of, mingling with people that, we kind of know, but we don't. And seeing the faces and getting to shake hands and give hugs and cheers and make toasts. It was just great conversations and a good experience. But I was highlighting the fact that when you are there, if you are there, that you should check out some of the photographs that they have on the wall. Because I said, well, where does all this stuff come from? And they told me that it was from the set. That's actually some of that stuff.
Wow,
is from,
really cool.
From the Picard set, yeah, and perhaps even from the Guinan's bar. I didn't pay too much attention to the kind of photographs that were on the walls and what was decorating the bar, but I assume that some of those things are actually, game used material, game used merchandise. It all looked official, and so definitely paid attention to detail. The food was amazing. We had some really good desserts and pastries, and I just all around thought it was a good experience. And shout out and kudos to Paramount Plus for organizing the event.
Right. Check this out. This was when we arrived. That's us. Looks like Cirroc wasn't ready. He's wearing his Def Leppard shirt, though, so that's pretty cool. But then check this out. Your mood changed when they started making s'more donuts right in front of us.
Yeah.
That's when you got super interested. That's pretty awesome.
Let me see what that is.
Yeah.
Very good. It was just a great feel in there, and I did enjoy myself a lot. I did have a few whiskey sours. I forgot what they were calling it, but they were actually mixing it with a little bit of Chateau Picard. So it was whiskey mixed with the drink, and then topped with a splash of wine.
It was like a Vulcan mind meld, but it was synthahol. Everybody, synthahol.
Oh, right.
Wasn't the real.
And very good. It was a good party. So I enjoyed myself, and definitely shout out to the guys who put that together.
Love those guys.
Excellent.
They're amazing. We could go on and on about them, and we probably will on other times. But let's talk about even them. If they're watching this, they're like, yes, we get it. We're great. Can you talk about Discovery now,
awesome.
please? We put a lot of money into Discovery. Can you talk about the show? And it shows, just like in this scene behind me, not only that it has a really cool a really cool 6-person crew that's very interesting, but look at how amazing that set looks.
The set. I wrote the same thing down. I said, I think that's the hangar that they're in.
Shuttle bay. This is a shuttle bay. And it looks like a work of art.
And I thought the same thing to myself. I said, how big, first of all, I was thinking, how big is the room that they're actually standing in? Because it looks like an entire sound stage all to itself. When you see this, the pull back wide angle shot of them, and you see how big it is, I was thinking, man, how big is their set? Because I remember when we were doing DS9, they said that the promenade that they built was one of the biggest sets ever. And when I look at Discovery, it seems like they're dwarfing our sets to some degree, because I just see from those long corridor shots, from the general who was talking with Book, who was kind of the defector and giving Book the secret codes and looking out for him, and Tarka kind of joining the ranks of the guys who are going to go off on their own and try to solve this problem outside of Starfleet. But when I was watching those corridors, I thought to myself, wow, these corridors are amazing. That hangar, the docking bay, it's huge and so elaborate. And even from the aerial view, it had those honeycomb kind of flooring design panels that were lit up in between the meeting point of the tile. So I just thought, wow, this place, it just looks so good. The set designers on this show
always
killing it. God. Yeah, killing it.
Lord, I don't know. Yeah, I don't even want to think about that budget, because it looks amazing. The talent is on full display, and usually budgetary constraints make it to where the talent has to really get creative to make something look good with a certain amount of money. But it feels like this is a great, synergy between talent and a budget that can allow that talent to flourish, because this looks beautiful.
It does.
So in this episode, I kind of mentioned it a little bit in passing just now, but I really like the crew that they've put together. I love it when they get a group of people together and we watch how they interact, whether it's an away mission or whether it's people that are on the bridge together. This is pretty much like the higher ups, the delegates, the Senate, these 6 people. And it's really interesting to see how they interact, like who is the more logician type, or who is the short fuse, or who wants the action, and how they kind of work well together. And so that was really interesting for me. It was also interesting to see Saru and Tarina started playing hard to get, man. She was...
Oh, yeah, she shot him down.
Yeah, she was acting a little pawn far away from him. She's like, you stay back, pal. Don't think just because I gave you T doesn't mean I'm going to give you A. You know what I'm saying? I thought that felt good when I said it, but maybe not. It sounded funny.
No, it didn't. Yeah, no. No, I wrote down in my notes, Saru got shot down, and I feel like it's almost We visited this kind of a relationship before, and I feel what I'm seeing is almost the Odo
I thought you
Kira
were going to say that. Yeah.
dynamic, right? Where it was like when one is ready, the other one isn't, and it's just this back and forth of the timing not ever being right. Even though you feel like they should be getting together, or they feel like they would be right for each other. It just never seems to work out that way until the moment that it does. And I feel they're playing some of that dynamic here with Saru and this Romulan
Vulcan, yeah.
Vulcan president, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I do feel Tarina. I feel that kind of back and forth between them, this push and pull. And it seemed like she's pulling back right now when Saru has been, they've been coaching him up. Colbert's been like, go for it, man. Do
it. He's gonna be like, why'd you make me go for it? This is just pain and heartache. This is stressful.
Yes. Yeah. And I think in the last episode, he said he had never felt fear before. Well, he's about to feel his heartbreak too. That'll be another emotion that he's not going to be too happy about feeling. So, I noticed that too. That they're not going to give it to us. They're not going to make it too easy, which is good. I like that, because sometimes the kind of easy way, or the making it too hold hands and everything ends well at the end of the episode. That's not what we want. I'd like to be challenged. I like to think, which way is it going to go, and be left a little bit guessing. So they're doing a good job as far as leaving us guessing in that department.
Right. Writers always have to give the fans what they need, not what they want. Fans think that they want the couple to come together, right? But they don't realize that actually what they need is for the couple to not come together, because that builds that tension, that builds that interest, and it makes us root for it more and more and more and more until it finally happens. So,
yes.
and that's fun. And that's a good parallel between Odo and Kira, because both of those couples are not good with, feelings or emotions, or they have different ways of doing things, or Odo is just a puddle of goo and he doesn't really know much about anything with regards to relationships. And Saru doesn't know much about relationships either. He's a total newbie to this kind of stuff. And Michael was able to explain to Saru why that is, luckily. So it wasn't just that Tarina is not interested. It wasn't just that, say, like Tarina doesn't like Odo anymore, or sorry, Tarina doesn't like Saru anymore. It was that, as Michael explained, they in these public kind of situations, they need to kind of keep their distance. They don't want to show, they're not into PDA, public displays of affection. And so they kind of assert this coldness, this cold demeanor a little bit more to really, demonstrate that, hey, this is not an appropriate public thing, even if that means they're kind of overstepping it a little bit, a little bit more than somebody would like. When Michael explains that to Saru, it makes sense. It's like, okay, so it's not that she doesn't like him. It's just that she's saying, hey, slow down. We can still drink tea together, but let's keep things extremely professional in public.
That too. And I also felt there was also an aspect of it like, now's not the time, right?
Totally.
The world's about to be, Earth is about to be destroyed. This 10C species, we're about to do first contact with them. We don't know what we're about to face. And you're worried about some nookie. We got to prioritize, and this is not the priority right now.
All right. So Jet Reno.
Yes.
I'm consistently impressed by her, and again, I'll eat crow a little bit. When she first popped on the scene, the very first episode, I was immediately like, okay, we've seen this character before. We know what this character is. Okay, kind of the grumpy, I was just like, okay, I get it, but I wasn't prepared for what a natural Tig Notaro is in portraying that role. And that's what took me by surprise. And we should know better as viewers. The first thing, we do that a lot. We go, oh, I've seen this character before. I understand this character type. But then sometimes, we're doing a disservice to the writers making their own spin on it, on a character trope, and also the actor, because this character has never been played before by this particular actor. So we always have to allow that open space for the actor to show us something new. And she does every single episode. And I'm very happy that they had the good fortune of adding Tig Notaro to the cast, because she brings something very new and interesting that I did not expect to experience when watching this show. So I've been very happy with it.
Yeah. And what I think I've seen more, because this episode, I believe, is the most featured she's been in an episode.
Yeah.
So I feel like we got more of her than any time before. And what I have seen from her in the past, which I thought was excellent up until this point, which is the kind of one-liners and the quick talk back, lines.
And the duct tape.
Yeah. So she's been great at kind of delivering these really quick lines and then just disappearing and you don't see her again. And now you got to really see her acting chops, and particularly what I want to compliment her on is the facial expressions, the non-verbal communication that I think she did an excellent job with. When she's in that holding cell on Book's ship, and she's doing the kind of just watching what's going on and listening to Tarka and looking at his mathematical equations or whatever his plan is, you can see her registering so much on her face. And that was telling the story of, what her plan was going to be or what she was going to do next. And I thought she did an excellent job of just literally reacting and watching and telling the story with her eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, we can, I could go on forever with her. But the point is that she's a welcome addition. And, when we don't see her for many episodes, we're happy to see her back on set. When she said I would kill for some black licorice, I was like, that's my girl. That's my girl.
As soon as I heard that, I was like, are they watching the podcast and writing the episodes around our podcast? Because we've covered black licorice.
Yeah, I believe you're not a fan. You're not a fan, but I'm a big fan of the black licorice.
Yeah, I am not a fan. But I was a fan of the knowledge that they were kind of imparting with the black licorice, the whole, conducting electricity and all of these kinds of when the glycerides break down and all of those kind of things. I thought it was, a good lesson in biology / chemistry and all of these kinds of things. So, I like those kind of learning lessons. And at first I was thinking, and she's so good. She's so good because when she first takes that bite of that licorice, she does not telegraph in any way that it would become relevant later on down the line.
Speaking of so good, here's some of my favorite black licorice French candy. We have cashew, yum. And we have these guys, Gastrozon. Oh man, you cannot beat this stuff. Boy, oh boy, Cirroc, I know this is making me hungry.
Eat that right now.
Look at that. They're like little black tar balls.
It looks like caviar.
Yeah, it doesn't smell like caviar. It smells like kerosene. But anyway,
I can't even smell it. That's how bad it is for me. The smell of it.
I'll bring it next time I see you. I'll bring you some. We'll have a black licorice lunch, and it's the French stuff, so there's no sugar added. There is zero sweetness to this candy. It is all high octane licorice. It doesn't even taste like licorice anymore at this point. It just tastes like you're eating, I don't even know what, but it's delicious. And my French soul just can't get enough of it. Anyway.
Well, we'll do that with some chewing tobacco and just get it all over with at once, you know?
Actually, my whole room smells like black licorice ever since I opened that thing right now.
Oh, God. Yeah, I cannot deal with it. This episode also kind of confirmed something I've always was a little bit suspicious of, or something I was suspicious of, and that is Tarka. I always thought that Tarka was not that he was too rogue. That his, usually when you have a rogue character, like in Book's case, he's a rogue character with a principle. Yeah, in Book's case, right? He's a rogue character, but he's also principled, and he does things for kind of the right reasons, right? He has this where you can't necessarily fault him for the decisions he makes, because he has good intentions when he makes those moves. Even with the plot to destroy the DMA that he comes with Tarka, he's doing it for the right reasons. He's saying, hey, if diplomacy fails, if Starfleet can't get it done, then as a last resort option, we're going to do what we think is necessary to combat the DMA. And those are good, valid reasons. And so you would be able to enlist somebody like the general, I forgot her name, but the general that they were able to. Ndoye, yes. And so you would be able to get General Ndoye to join along with a cause that is righteous in its nature, right? But when you see Tarka and you can see that there is this hint of him that's like, there's no compromise. It's my way or get out of the way. And he's just a little bit too aggressive in his approach. So he makes me. I've always kind of not been able to trust him as much. He's always seemed to be, in my mind, a saboteur of some kind, right? So he's going to sabotage whatever mission that they have going on. And this just confirmed it for me watching this episode and kind of hearing his arguments and him lying to Book about what the consequences of their actions would be. And I thought that Jet also played a good role in that too, kind of like, hey, and this was a therapeutic thing, like, when you're hurt and you've been traumatized and you have this stuff that you're holding on to, that it will cloud your judgment and will allow you to not see things clearly. And that's a real thing, and it's not just trauma that can induce that. You can also be in love with somebody, right? And love will blind you from the realities of what the person you're dealing with. People, your friends will say, hey, I think that person's bad for you because of this, and this. And you can't even see it because you're just like, what are you talking about?
Right.
They're amazing. I love them. We share so much in common, and
then they're like, what in common do you really have? And you're like, well, like, I don't know. We like to eat.
Right.
That's about it. Right.
She drives a car. I drive a car. We both have licenses.
Boy, I could go on and on.
But let me stop here. And so those are the kinds of things that we always kind of deal with in our own lives. Just having clouded judgment based on whatever it is. Either that we're hyper focused on something and we can't see the externalities, or we're deeply hurt by some event that's been traumatic in our life, and we can't see things for what they are, or be able to separate ourselves from the thing that we are attached to. So I thought that was a great segue. I thought Reno added that extra element of being a counselor to Book, but also just, trying to get him to open his eyes. It was very believable. And there were just a lot of good moments in this episode.
Mm-hmm. I like what you said. My way or get out of the way. It was pretty good.
Yeah, that sums him up.
Although, with Jet Reno, they're giving her more layers in that she's not just, I'm going to give a few quips here and there. She's not just the comedy or, the kind of wordplay, kind of, quips here and there. But then she's also like the great engineer. Okay, cool. So that's already 2 layers, and we're usually fine with that. But she also has quite the humanity to her. And, we see that in this episode. We also saw it, I believe, in this previous episode. We also saw it, I don't remember if it was last season or the one before, but it was when I personally said this was the most Star Trek scene that I have seen in all of the new Star Trek series. And that was when Jet Reno goes in to visit Dr. Culber for a hangnail or whatever it was, right? And really, she was doing that to kind of check on him, and it was all subtext, and it was all beautifully written. And to me, that was the most Star Trek scene in all of the shows 2017 and on. And now we saw a little bit more of that, but this one wasn't about subtext as much. It was just her talking to them straight up. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Very good stuff. But there were a couple of things I had small issues with. Actually, one thing in particular that if I had my nitpick tie handy, I would be putting it on. And this is the thing. They were all at this briefing, all the top brass. And I guess you would call this the upper deck, right? These are the upper decks.
I'm not touching that one.
Don't you touch that one. But so they're all having this very serious meeting. They're talking about, okay, we're about to have first contact with the species, and all the top brass are kind of around the table. And this Dr. Harai character, he kind of butts in and says, "Hey, yeah, why don't we da 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 da?" And then he takes some kind of thing, I don't know what it is, a snack of some sort, maybe a piece of black licorice.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, and pops it in his mouth, and I'm like, where did that come from?
I was like, are they going to tell us what that is? We're all curious now. We want to know what was that?
What are you snacking on?
Yeah,
and why are you at the in the Pentagon at the Situation Room or whatever? Why are you snacking now? Like it was a very. It's too light for the moment, right? It's like, okay, this is the end of the world. The whole galaxy is about to be destroyed. Mm-hmm. We got to figure this out. This is like this is like The Room. This is where the things go down. It's like the Bin Laden killing. It's like sending Blackhawks to go get Bin Laden. This is the meeting, and then you see this guy. He's popping in Snickers or let me eat this gumdrop, and I'm like, that it looked weird. It looked weird for him to be eating in those.
It could be a couple things. It could be, number one, that they established that and ended up editing out that scene for whatever reason. So there might have been something more to it, where they're just like, oh well, now he's just popping something in, whatever. It's still okay. Or maybe they had, maybe we just missed this. Maybe they had the establishing shot that shows them all around a table, and maybe he's reaching in, and if you rewind and you pause it right there, you can see that he's snacking on a bowl of popcorn or gah or something like that. So everybody that's watching this, in the comments, let us know, what the heck is he eating? Did they establish it and we just missed it? Was there a quick shot of what he was reaching in for? Or if not, then I guess now we just have to guess and theorize as to what this guy is snacking on. Or maybe he just didn't have lunch, and he's just like, I'm eating lunch, and they're like, hurry, this is important, just take your lunch with you. He's like, okay, just maybe it's not his fault.
Yeah, some reference to it would have been great. That would have been actually a good line to add, like, hey, what are you eating? No, I didn't, I missed lunch, sorry guys, I'm starving. Some quick reference to that moment, because I'm just curious, because I've never seen anybody eating under those circumstances. Usually they're in the mess hall. Usually they're having Rock the Gino or something.
Yeah, but as long as we're talking about our nitpicks, let's go ahead and pick one up right quick.
There it is.
It's time for the nitpick, everyone. I know I'm not on Discovery, but I don't care. Okay. Here it comes. When they're all hanging out in that shuttle bay, a girl beams in, hands them something, and then walks away. If she beamed in, can't she beam back out? If she can walk away, can't she walk in? Piss me off.
You got to go the way you came.
Yeah.
Now you've got the Karate Kid thing going.
I was like, she beamed in, she handed something to Michael or somebody.
Yeah.
And then, did you remember that she like handed a box? And then she's like, fuck it, I'll just take the door. Like, why didn't you just take the door in the first place? I don't want to.
Oh, that's a nice little nitpick there. But yeah, I mean, those are really small. I did like the special effects. Once again, I want to say I liked the 10C's kind of liquid ball or whatever that it was that they sent to pick up the rest of the crew and have them walk through those doors. I like the special effects in that. I like the special effects of them interacting with these molecules and kind of pulling up 3D diagrams of these molecules. Yes.
And talking and using math as a language. Really cool, really interesting.
Very interesting concepts. So yeah, I mean, it was like almost sitting in school and relearning about, the periodic table of elements and all of these things, because we're going through how many, atoms are inside of a particular thing and what their makeup is and how to communicate using this math. And that was another funny thing was when they were saying, well, how do we respond to them to say that the DMA is killing our people, right?
Right. And then you find yourself as a viewer trying to think about like how would I approach that, right?
Yes. And I thought it was a clever thing for them because they said we were going to use carbon, and carbon would be kind of too general because almost everything is carbon based, and it wasn't enough of a input for the communication to be able to identify specifically this is killing humans or humanoids. And so they used oxygen and air essentially to as the supplement for that. I thought that was another kind of clever thing for them to write, and it was fun to watch them try to figure that out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they said that this alien species is aware of the exact mixture of air that they need to breathe. So that is almost like that their signature. This is the signature of these races, is this combination of molecules for them to breathe. So use that to identify them. That was a really good one. And there was something else I wanted to say, but big surprise, I forgot. Because I forget everything. I do want to point out our buddy Don Crandall, who gave us some good notes last week, but we missed them. He gave us a couple notes here. He says, it's very much, this episode 12, is very much like Star Trek The Motion Picture right now, trying to communicate with V'ger. Also like the probe in Star Trek 4, reminded me of other films about nonverbal communication with aliens, like Arrival or Close Encounters and Contact. Mm-hmm. And in Contact, they communicated with math. Good points by Don Crandall there. Yeah, the math communication is a really interesting aspect of this. And it's fun because it does make us all start thinking, oh yeah, how would I do this? You can, like they said, greater than or something, which meant great, or whatever it was. It does make you start to think, how would I write this, or how would I interpret that? And would you use 4 + 5 = 9? Apparently they're all in agreement. But this is the second to last episode of the series. It's the penultimate episode. So really at this point, thank goodness we met the 10C, because we've been waiting forever. And there's only one episode left. So this is it. We've known basically since the beginning, like what you were saying, that Tarka, we can't fully trust him. we knew that at some point he and Booker were going to have to face off. We knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
They've been building it forever, and we could see it coming. And now, like with everything else, that is paying off because it is what we're expecting. But it's the kind of expectation where if we don't get it, it's kind of a letdown because we're like, well, we know they're going to have to. I mean, if Booker and Tarka destroy the entirety of the DMA and the 10C and then go off into some other universe and Discovery fails, we'd be like, wait, what? That doesn't work. So we're expecting this. We're hoping for this, and we know we're going to get it. And it's all going to come to a head next week in the final episode.
Yeah, and I thought it was a very good cliffhanger at the end of this one. So it left me kind of saying, okay, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what is going to be the finale of this season. And I also thought that was cool that Grudge made an appearance in this. There was a moment where Burnham was talking and funny. Grudge was kind of in the foreground, and it kind of turned to listen. And I was like, look at Grudge over there spying in, listening in on the
No, what I really loved was when Burnham and Saru were doing their yelling. And it was so funny because perfectly like a cat, they're yelling, they go, ah, and the cat gets up like, I'm out of here. He just Grudge just hops down like these people are annoying. I'm gonna go find a quieter place. I loved it.
That was classic. Yeah, I love Grudge in that moment. I thought that was hilarious. And also, really quickly, just wanted to, it's interesting because we just found out essentially that this species is one of the biggest producers of whiskey. The 10C whiskey.
Wow.
Thank you. That's all I got for this.
Wow.
Episode.
No, when you said they produce whiskey, I was like, okay, my mind was racing. I was like, there's a joke coming. What's it going to be? Figure it out. And then you said, I was like, damn it, I should have got that. Was a good one. That's a good one. 10C whiskey. Thank you, everybody. And thank you. Good night. Tip your waitress. Okay. So we do want to give a very special thanks to Carmen, aka Skillet, TJ, Jackson-Bey out in Missouri, Yvette Blackmon, Homer Freezy out somewhere in New Yeezy, Eve England out in Wales, Dr. Marie Segal, Tim Baum, aka Grandpa One, Titus Mohler, Bill Victor Arucan, hey, Darlena Marie, Rex A. Wood, John Mann, Dr. Mohamed Noor, Joe Balsarati, Tierney C. Dieckmann, Ryan Galloway, Christopher Collins, Erica Strom, Amy Renee Haynes, and of course, Dr. Susan V. Gruner. Thank you all for joining us. Boy, this is a fun one. We can't wait till next week when we're going to find out everything. And Doye is going to realize the error of her ways. Tarka probably won't. He probably has to be defeated. And
he has to be defeated.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So everybody at home, thank you for joining us. And until next time, always remember the 7th rule.